Small Business Shoutouts are brought to you by Yankton Thrive, a service of 5-Star Communications. Business owners, if you're interested in being interviewed for our Small Business Shoutouts with Yankton Thrive, contact the folks at Yankton Thrive.
Hi, and welcome to another edition of Small Business Shoutout. I am Brittany Wagner with Yankton Thrive, and today we have two guests in the studio. I have Lacey and Barb from Southeast Transit. Welcome, ladies.
Hello.
Hello.
So we have lots to talk about today, but before we get into some of the current offerings, I want to talk about and highlight some of the history with the organization, because there's a lot to talk about there too.
Yes, there is. We've had a lot of changes in the last couple months with both of our facilities, and that includes our rebranding of Southeast Public Transit from Vermilion Public Transit and Yankton Transit.
So now we're a merger. Yankton Transit and Vermilion Transit are Southeast Transit, Southeast Public Transit.
Yep, that's right. And we're really looking forward to all the changes. Well, not changes, but all the upcoming things we have going on in the community.
Yeah, that's exciting. So I have been fortunate enough to know a little bit about Yankton Transit, not as much about Vermilion Transit, but can you share a little bit more about what both of your regions have to offer in terms of your services?
With the merger, we believe that combining our resources will give us the ability to use each other's drivers and vehicles. We're coordinating out-of-town trips so that we are able to use one driver instead of two, and we can also have that second driver help out elsewhere. So in the future, we'll be pooling our dispatchers to help serve both communities, also creating shorter waiting times and better customer service. And a customer will be able to call either office and get help that they need.
Which is always fantastic for the community when you're able to utilize resources in that capacity, especially because when you mentioned, Lacey, the shorter wait times, oftentimes people are looking for a time-sensitive ride. Mm-hmm. So to know that the merger has allocated or allowed for better customer service opportunities, right? And shared drivers and more efficiency. That's fantastic to hear. What else can you share with us about maybe a little bit more about the Vermilion location? Because that's one that I'm not super familiar with.
Well, we've been around since 1997. We do basically the same things. We do out-of-town trips. We do in-town trips. The biggest difference between Yankton and Vermilion is we don't do a lot of youth rides.
Okay.
There's in-town busing, so we don't have the demand for that, which kind of lowers our number of riders.
Sure. Which maybe is another good reason for that merger, is because the demands are different. So if you can share resources that way, that also just adds to the benefit of the business as a whole. And we were talking just before we started here about some of the youth services, and you shared that was a question you often get asked. Lacey, would you mind just touching on some of the future goals and what some of that might look like for Southeast Transit?
So our youth rides right now, as a lot of people know, have been put on hold. And we are looking forward into the future to opening those back up, because we do know our community needs it. Right now, our limitations is the shortage of drivers. We're currently hiring. We got some new people coming on board, and we're looking forward to getting them started. But that does come with a wait period, because it's taking roughly about a month and a half to 2 months to get them fully trained and getting them on the road. So it does take time. Even though we do have drivers, it takes some time to get them on the road.
Which is important, right? You want them to be able to know how to maneuver the vehicles safely, especially if you are trying to send your kiddos on the transit bus. So just a short little while longer, and hopefully those services will be back up and running. Now I'm hoping that you can share a little bit more about when I'm ready to make a transit appointment. I don't know if that's what you call, or book a ride. Mm-hmm. What is the best way to do that? How can I get a hold of you if I have other questions?
Okay, well, for the Yankton office, it is calling our phone number. It is 665-4610. We have a couple great dispatch gals that will help you out setting up that ride. You have to set it up at least a day in advance. We do not do same-day rides. So make sure that you are calling at least a day in advance. And if you know ahead of time, too, if you have appointments coming up, give us a call as soon as you can, and we'll get those into the system to make sure you're taken care of in the future.
And how about for the Vermilion location? What does that process look like?
You would call 624-RIDE. Which is 7433, and get a hold of our dispatcher, and she'll help you set up a ride. In Vermilion, we are able to do same-day rides out of availability basis. So if you want to be guaranteed a ride, you might want to call a day in advance. And for out-of-town trips, we also require advance notice for that.
Sure, absolutely, and that makes sense. So one of the big things that we try to promote at Thrive, and I think Greater Yankton community as a whole, is how can we continue to support small businesses? Because when a small business thrives, the entire community thrives. What can we do in the Greater Yankton area to continue to support you and your small business?
We do sell advertising on the buses, so other small businesses could buy advertising space on the bus, which helps us generate match dollars to match our federal funds that we receive.
That's an excellent opportunity. So that community over competition, one small business helping promote another small business simultaneously. Perfect. I love it. Anything else you would like to share on Southeast Public Transit before I ask my final question, ladies?
So the one thing I did want to add is in the Yankton area, we do have a lot of great contracts with our medical facilities here in town. That includes Avera, Horizon, InReach, and Yankton Medical Clinic. With those contracts, it allows all of their patients and our passengers to get to their medical appointments at no charge to them, and then a ride back home, as well as we do bill Medicaid. So anybody that has Medicaid and are qualified under their policy, we allow rides to and from their medical appointments. And that includes out-of-town rides as well. The other big thing we have is that we recently received money from United Way for mental health appointments. So we are currently offering rides to and from mental health appointments, any of the facilities here in town, and that will be available to our passengers free of charge as well. So that opportunity is a great one for our community, and we look forward to helping as many people with that. And also the last thing is our VA. We recently became a vendor with the VA, and what that does allow is for us to take veterans to their appointments, whether that's in Sioux Falls or in Sioux City or wherever their VA has allowed them to go. The big thing with that is that they do have to go through the VA association, which is in Sioux Falls. They have to call that number, transportation number, and it has to be approved through them before it comes to us. But we're more than happy to help accommodate those rides.
What an additional great resource for the community. I mean, you talk about community supporting community and all of these great additional benefits. So thank you for all that you do. Last question, ladies. You have chosen to be a Thrive member. Can you share a little bit about why you chose to be a Thrive member?
Thrive is all about community, and that's what we are as well. So we want to be here for our community until, I don't know when, but we're going to be here forever. So, and we also just want that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, ladies. And we are so excited to have you in the community, and thank you again for all that you do. Again, this was another edition of Small Business Shoutout. If you would like to learn more about Southeast Public Transit or any of our small businesses, you can check them out on our website, yanktonsd.com.
Small Business Shoutouts are on the air every Tuesday at 10:30 and Thursday 2:30. Small Business Shoutouts, along with Yankton Thrive and 5 Star Communications Classic Hits 106.3.